agenda, but welcome to our board.
Thank you.
I'm Judy. Do you know everybody else?
No, I'm Jean. Hi.
Nice to meet you. Sarah?
I think I know everybody else. Albert, lights that off? The actual.
Oh, no.
I
Yes.
don't see anyone here for public comment, so we'll go right on to approval of the September minutes. They were sent out a long time ago.
I didn't bring the cord.
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, moved by Jean, seconded by Sarah. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Motion carried. Treasurer's report.
Mostly what we have on the treasury report this month is the income and outgoing for the mum sale. The fundraising expenses, the $1,041.50, that's the cost of the mums. Couple, I think some of these the $770 was the rest of the painting. Just some, and the rest of regular Stephen buying some stuff. And the wages came through on this one, we weren't on that much. Nothing out of the ordinary or over budget or anything weird.
So the profit end up being,
That's coming up with the sales section. With the home sales section, I was gonna save that for that.
oh, sorry. I'll put this away.
Does anybody have any questions on the budget? Nope.
Entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Second on that?
I'll second.
Either one. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Director,
So who was the second on that, I'm sorry?
either one of those. they
Either
both
one,
work.
okay, I'll pick one.
Not much to report this month. Gallery system's been installed. Just waiting, there was never deal with the spouse of an artist, deal with the artist himself. So I am currently now contacting the artist who was supposed to be here because her husband told her the wrong library. Cause
Okay.
he thought it was gonna be down in Dorset. So working that out, I'm pretty sure she's gonna be up here. She just has to pick a different day.
Who's it?
It's Renee, Jeremy Smith's wife. They live up in Londonderry, so she just has to pick a different day to come here with her daughter to be able to set up.
So,
We have, I just have to hammer down a date for her to start showing, and she'll be showing through the rest of the end of the year. I don't have anybody lined up currently for the next year. I am gonna start reaching out to the different artists, see if anybody wants to come back in here, because I don't have anybody new that hasn't already signed up.
what is her?
She does mandala art, so the dot,
Yeah.
so something different, something that's
Colorful.
different sizes, so some of them might be priced more for like gift items, which would be great for the holiday season, that sort of thing. That, and I believe for next year, we should rework the policy for artists where, similar to other libraries, where it's a portion of their sales is automatically expected to be donated to the library. Like, it's usually 20%, some libraries do as price gougy as 40%, I don't wanna go that high. I think 20%, that way then if they don't sell anything, they're not out anything. They don't have to pay to show here. But if they do sell something, we get a little bit of off the top.
And the 20% is way lower than if they're showing it in reality.
I've kind of put a, yes.
No, go ahead.
I've put a hold on doing the labels in the kids' room because I've been working on I had to go through the nonfiction again because I found some more book mold in there. Removed it, removed the books that were affected, cleaned the shelves again. So that's been fun. I've also took one of the rolling carts that we have and started spray painting it so it matches the trim color in here. So it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb when it's out here. And the Cliff books, the Cliff Grant books have started arriving. So I'm cataloging them as I have time to do that. So far we've gotten 40 books in from our wish list of 115.
And those are all kids' books, right?
Yes, I had to whittle down a title selection of over 3,500 books down to 115 titles that we wanted. And then we'll see what we get from that. Upcoming, we have the Scary Stories by the Cemetery happening on the 26th. And I put down the wrong time, it's actually 7, not 6 p.m. that is happening. Would you be available to make a couple dozen Halloween donuts? Okay.
Yeah, oh gosh.
You can drop them off here anytime during the day.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be, like, I know you're crazy on Saturdays with your bacon.
Okay, cool.
So,
Brett is doing a haunted hayride on the 25th and 26th.
Alright.
Also, it's 7. I wish that we had, well, I think he just decided to do it, but we could have coordinated with him and then like, come to the Scary Stories and then go to the hayride. But,
either way, hopefully we'll get some people
yeah,
that are
mistake, yeah,
yeah,
cool. How many do you want? I'm sorry.
just 2 dozen.
2 dozen, okay.
Other highlight of the week is I purchased a key lockbox for all of our spare keys, and I have installed it in the kitchen. And it has a 3-digit code to open it up, has every single spare key that we have in the building in there. And I made a couple extra copies of the front door key, the back door key, and the keypad lock. Yes,
She needs a key.
you will have a key before you leave.
Wonderful.
That way then they're not just sitting in a desk drawer where anybody can get in there.
So do we have, are we keeping a list of who
There-
has them, so that?
There is a list in here, in the drive for, that has all the keys on it. I just can't go back in time to see who has a key and who hasn't returned a key. Because the closest I could say was all past volunteers have a key. Who knows if they've returned them?
Right.
Because from past board members, Carrie returned her key. I have not received Arlene's key.
Well, you might not.
Yeah.
So,
I get that.
so there's
I
things
don't
like
think we have
that,
to worry about
that, you know, I just can't accommodate. You know, I can't account for those, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we,
But going
One of the
forward, I
reasons
have
for
who
the-
has what key, I've written down, you know, all open hour volunteers currently have keys, all trustees have keys, with the exception of Morgan, which will have a key. Yeah, that's where we're at with that. But I just wanted to secure it all up.
yes.
So, while you're on Scary Stories,
Yes,
so maybe you are, what do you need from the trustees?
well, Erica's reading at it, Sarah's baking for it. If anybody wants to
I'm
come.
not in town.
If anybody wants to come around like between 6 and 6:30, and if it's beautiful weather out, I usually set up a tent and I just need to string up some lights. That's about it. I don't usually go. It's Saturday, yes, the 26th.
Saturday.
I changed it from Friday to Saturday to try to hopefully catch more people on the weekend versus.
Is it gonna
The
be
end of a
warmer
work day.
Saturday?
Hmm?
Is it gonna be warmer Saturday or Friday?
57 and 32 at night.
If it's,
Way long under your back.
yeah, well, we can always move inside if needed.
Nah, I can't stay for this time.
It could potentially be
All right.
called haunted building.
I'm sorry, keep going.
No, that's the end of my, I don't, and if somebody wants to come over and help, that's great. If not, I don't really need
Okay.
anybody.
Just wanna make sure.
Yeah,
Do you have a flyer, then I can share it on my?
I forgot to print more, so I've gotta print some out.
Or I can just take a picture of it if you have a master.
It's just digital
Oh,
that I
okay.
have, because I've been sending it to the schools.
Did it go up to Natalie?
It went to Medway, went to Dorset, and I'm putting it up on Facebook tonight.
Okay, cool, I'll get from there then,
Yeah.
and then, sure, okay.
Do you send it to Salem at all, or?
No, I send it to, I've been sending it to schools where I actually receive communication back, that they've actually received it. So,
Only because you have a couple kids that always come to these things.
okay,
Um,
well, I only have
Lewis.
I only have the Salem High School, I don't have the Salem Grade School.
It's all the same building.
Same building, okay? Cause, I figure if they're not communicating back that,
Yeah.
please send it to me, then it's
Yeah.
probably not worth,
They're not great, it's very
Yeah.
frustrating.
But I know, Melinda
Mhm.
has, or somebody usually takes her kids
Okay,
to the scary stories.
so I'll add it to my list to send off.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're on to business. The mum sale, this was just about comments or suggestions or whatever. And when Jean and I finished up after the mum sale, she wrote down what was on her mind. And one thing was there were not enough baked goods. I think, very few baked goods.
I don't know if it were more than 10.
There didn't seem to be. And so we need to remember, if we do it again, to make calls to people and ask, putting it out saying, we did get, like Carol Saunders, I know she brought a couple things.
I think
Lisa
the problem is
Wilson
this year is we didn't have the committee like we normally do. Cause I know Arlene was the one who would call people, I know Carrie would call people, and since they both left the board,
Yeah, maybe,
nobody's picked up the ball and run with it as far as that goes.
right,
I did put it in every single one of my
yeah,
advertisements,
I saw that.
Looking for donation of baked goods. We didn't
But a
have,
phone call is harder to say no to, just looking at an ad and walking away.
if, we don't actually have an official list of people who have donated pies
You could send that,
and baked
like
goods.
that postcard that the town sent, that says,
Exactly.
drop your pie off and
But
or
the
else.
firemen's did, one does it for the,
I never get that post.
no?
I've never been asked to make it.
They haven't got you yet, wait till they do.
I'll
Well,
make
now
a
it's
pie.
on, now it's
Yeah.
on camera.
I'll make a pie.
But the flowers were beautiful.
Gorgeous.
And
Mine is still going strong.
Mine is
And I'm
too.
leaving town, so if anybody wants to come by my house and pick them up, they're beautiful.
I chopped mine off last year and saved them,
And they came back?
They say you can do
put
that.
them in the garage and covered them with newspaper and brought them out. I just was gonna say regarding the mum sale, we had $1,551 and I just didn't write it down, but last year we did have a lot more income, but we bought a lot more mums, so it was still similar.
Did
We
we?
had a five, yeah, cause hers were more, from the supplier, they were less expensive.
Right.
So we had more, and then her Laura's direct from her was more expensive, so we ordered a little bit less.
Oh, I thought it was
So it's like similar, but we did have, cause I don't remember last year, the pies were like coming in like nonstop. Like every
Mhm.
time cause that's when I grabbed the cream pie.
Yep.
People
You know,
were
like
dropping
John
them off and people were
Elton's,
grabbing
nobody
them.
else
Oh,
did.
yeah.
And the pies are all pure profit since we're all donating.
Exactly.
Exactly,
Yes.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And, $15 a shot or whatever, it helps a
Mhm.
lot.
And hardly seems worthwhile for $509 in profit to even call that a fundraiser.
Well, just need to be better next year.
Well, one, the
Make
months need
phone
to be
calls.
priced higher.
They
were-
need to be priced higher.
We need to
Yes,
charge
that
more, that was big.
What were they priced at?
$10.
Oh, yeah,
It was
they were
crazy
pretty
low.
big,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were huge,
They
they were
were
gorgeous.
huge, they were certainly worth
Yes.
more than $10.
Yeah.
No, I think we need to definitely rethink that approach.
So,
And
yeah, I mean,
earlier,
I think this needs to go
in
into
the
the.
month too, like people, like cats, like, I already got my one.
Yeah,
So
and
mine-
and
Yeah.
unfortunately, that was a tough weekend
No.
too, cause with the fairy tale, I was at parents' weekend, and if we could do it, maybe like a week earlier next year.
And I think
It might be-
we definitely need to have, right now, as it stands, we don't have a committee for the spring plant sale, and we don't have a committee for the mum sale, and we don't have a committee for the golf
Anything.
tournament. So,
And usually when
unless
you,
we have a, committee that is spearheading changing these things, I you know, I don't see them getting changed that easily.
You know, perhaps that committee should have a broader approach to fundraising, so that we're not just doing the same thing year in, year out. Come up with some other approaches that might bring more in.
Well, we don't have a fundraising committee, it's
No.
everybody on board. So-
Come March,
Hmm?
after everybody's back in and out and whatever, we usually sit down and say, okay, these are the fundraisers and who wants to head it?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, like you say, two of them left.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them also said she helped with the golf tournament and then didn't want anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, you gotta start, I think, in March, you have the board, the complete board, hopefully, by
But I
then.
think Anakin's right, I think we also have to come up with
Yeah, well,
other
you know,
ideas. I
we
mean,
used to
these
do a
would
book
be-
sale and realized that was way too much more effort, very little return,
Right.
and we don't do that anymore. But obviously, everything needs a
Well, I mean, I'm not saying we
a
shouldn't.
fresh look on it,
Yeah,
like,
I'm
is
not
this
saying
worth it?
we shouldn't do a plant sale, but it may be a better approach to think about it more as of a community thing, as opposed to that being like one of our main fundraisers.
Well, if
We need to have some other approaches
Well,
to
if-
really upping the ante.
The only problem about it being a community thing, people have just so much money, and they show up on a Saturday morning with $50 to spend,
Mhm.
and if they're gonna split it between everybody in town, you know,
Sure.
that's a hard thing too.
I think in the future, if the spring plant sale is done and the fall mum sale is being done, we can't think about what local nurseries are charging for that day. If it's a fundraiser for us, we can charge a little bit more and
Yeah.
people would be willing to pay it because it's fundraising, it's helping a community
Because
thing.
Laura's mums were only 50 cents less than what we were selling them for.
Correct, and that's how we price, that's how we've been pricing the spring plant sale, is what is Laura charging for these? We don't wanna price above hers,
But we
Yes.
have to.
and it's
Yeah,
like,
we always
that's,
have price above ours.
The plant
Not a
sale
whole
made even
lot.
less
I
money
know,
though.
but we need to
I
like,
feel like that's the one that we should keep. Really make it.
Well, and also in the spring plant sale, we used to get a lot of those,
Perennials.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they didn't cost us anything because people were
Mhm.
donating them then, and so anything you got from that was pure profit. And we don't get a lot of that, and we haven't been.
So another thing on the mum sale, we shouldn't charge an even amount, $10, because people just give you $10. If they're $12, they give you 15 and say keep the change. So it should be an odd number. I mean, that's just a note
Yeah.
that we didn't think about,
Right.
but we thought about it after the fact, so try to remember it for next year.
I think it's a good idea to do it earlier too, because people have already bought their mums by,
Especially this year.
Yeah, I mean, they had them on August, at the end of
Yeah.
August
Yeah.
at the grocery store, so, yeah.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah,
think some
cause
people
Price
were,
Chopper sold out twice before we even had ours.
I know. I definitely, if
They
we
weren't
can
as
do it
nice.
earlier.
No, they
then-
weren't as nice, but people were snapping them up
No, I
because they
know.
wanted mums.
Yeah,
Well, because the weather was.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at how much we took for the profit we had for the plant sale in the spring, and I think from your report, it looks like it was like $398, which
Yeah,
is
that,
pretty pathetic.
that
Mhm.
was low,
yeah.
and I don't know
So
why.
let's try and come up with something else, I
Yeah.
mean, just come up with another idea, different.
Maybe
Like you
just
said, I mean, there were so many
we could
nurseries,
skip-
everyone's selling plants
Yeah.
in the spring.
Well,
Skip
you
the,
know,
skip
yeah.
the spring one and like make the mum sale really awesome, cause all fall in Vermont is kind of,
Mhm.
the thing.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Make it really fun.
push the plants
But I
and-
think Carrie also
I mean, the mums.
did a raffle,
I was gonna say, I think that we
Or-
had a
Yes.
raffle
There was the
too.
Spring Gardeners raffle.
and that made us.
She did
I
a
mean-
mum thing too.
Yes,
No, the mum was always pies.
I would be
No, but
happy.
she did
that. I
something-
remember
she
the
did something.
wheel-
Not
Wheelbarrow.
since I've been here.
What is it?
Yeah, she did, because she had a wheelbarrow with a mum in it, and one year,
That was a raffle. That was not
Right.
Right.
that was not an auction. So we were
no,
selling
not
raffle
an auction,
tickets.
raffle,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was the only year we've done a raffle during the mum sale.
Well, we haven't done the mum sale that often.
Right. But in the 3 years that I've been here, we've only done that once.
Could be, I don't know, all I know is she did it.
Well, I think if we expanded the bake sale portion of it, which I would be happy to,
And not
Add
just
up.
not just call it the mums and pie sale, you know, mum and bake sale.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because some people wanna shy away from pies.
Mhm. You know, somebody might wanna bring like, you know, loaves of bread or something like that.
Yeah.
Or we could have done donut, yeah, there's stuff that we could do.
Okay, anything else? Remember anything else we put on that list? No, it's basically raise prices, more pies, and,
So we just have to remember next year to look at these notes.
Got it.
yeah,
Sounds good.
okay. So, then this cleaning means, did anybody contact Linda about, a checklist for cleaning or whatever?
I think Stephen was going to, it was in the minutes last time. I just read the
I was
minutes
to
before
come
I
up with a
came.
checklist, but not to contact Linda,
I thought somebody was going to contact Linda, that's what I wrote.
because that was
Steve
talked
will
about.
create a cleaning checklist and sit down with our cleaner to review the responsibilities.
Yeah, I thought it was come up with a checklist, but not
Yeah.
necessarily talk to her yet, cause I thought we had to
Okay.
kind of decide what.
So we
We
need,
wanted it to
so I
be.
guess
We
we
need a
need to come
checklist?
up with a checklist.
Okay, I failed to do that.
How's the cleaning been going? Any differently?
Not really, and, I've been having to go into the bathroom to scrub off all of the paint splatters, cause there's paint splatters everywhere in there.
Oh,
From the
really?
painter, it's all over the linoleum, it was all over the toilet, it's all over the sink,
Oh,
and they were dried
I
on.
didn't realize that, yeah.
So I have to scrape it all off. I'm hoping that my new note in the kitchen on the trash can will help Linda, because she doesn't know where the trash bags are, even though they're right above the trash can. I think she just is so used to just coming in and having her routine that anything out of that, and she doesn't
Mhm.
notice it.
Right.
Cause she asked what the white spots on the carpet were from. And I'm like, from the paint? So,
All right, moving right along. No strings.
All right, so we're just gonna make a checklist and
Yes.
then,
Right?
Who's gonna make the checklist and by when?
I'll be making the checklist and I will send it out by the end of this week just for, to the board, and then, cause I don't really know what to do about Linda, since she's been here since before I started, and,
Is she ever here when you're here?
no, we purposely do not,
I mean, it would make sense if
Yeah.
she wouldn't be.
yeah, that way then we don't get caught talking to each other for 3
Yeah,
hours.
yeah. Do you really need board approval for the checklist?
I don't think so, I just, yeah.
Well, it'd be nice to just know.
No, I'll be sending it out to the board just so the board knows.
Okay, I didn't think you did, I was gonna say, go for
No.
it.
No, not for approval, but just for, this is what the checklist now contains.
All right.
yeah, it would be good to have if we ever hire a new.
Yeah, I'm also
Great.
putting everything into the drive, for the next director.
No strings?
I emailed everybody,
Yes?
nobody answered me,
Uh,
nobody answered me.
So-
I pulled it up. So she cannot do
Go ahead.
Saturday, she can do Friday or Sunday the first weekend of December. Cause we were trying to move it because of the
Tree lighting.
tree lighting.
Mm-hmm.
So, either Saturday, Friday or Sunday.
There's
And-
something else going on the day of the tree lighting too, I was just reading, what the heck was it?
What day
Yeah,
is
what
that?
dates are we talking about?
December sixth or eighth.
Okay.
I think the tractor parade got
We're trying to
okayed
move it
for
to the seventh, but.
the 6th, or something like that.
She can't do
Was
it.
the Greenwich tractor, maybe that's what it was, cause there
No,
was,
the Greenwich Tractor Parade is happening the same day as the,
It's always the
Game
game
dinner.
supper.
Oh, yeah.
that's what I saw, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, they're like,
no.
go to the game dinner, then
but
go
the
to the tractor
Granville,
meet,
the
that's,
Granville Lighted Tractor Parade got okayed for the 6th, I wanna say.
I thought it was the 14th.
Okay,
It's a week after the tree
Week
lighting,
after, okay.
usually. I don't know, they're,
I read the dispatch and I believe the
All right,
So they either
so
do Friday, the same
think
as
we
the
should
tree
do-
lighting, or Sunday.
Sunday would be like a matinee, right?
She didn't
Oh.
give me time, she was in the weeks.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think you're gonna get
That's a
many
thought.
people out Sunday night,
Right,
I just.
Sunday matinee though.
Sunday matinee might be good.
And then we have to pick which show.
What are the
Oh,
options?
yeah.
Wait a minute, let me tell you. Okay, I'm not open when I lost it. So we have Handsome and Gretel,
Have you seen it?
I've seen.
Nick
yeah,
of
I've seen
Time,
that one.
which looks like it had a dinosaur,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did that.
Scrooge, Nick of
The
Time.
dinosaur one.
I can't hear you.
Nick of time. It
Yes.
wasn't the best.
Oh, I don't even
I don't think I've
remember.
ever seen that one. Scrooge, which we just did not too long ago. Jack and the Beanstalk, which I think we did not too long ago. And then the Snow Maiden, which also sounds really familiar.
That's kind of the problem,
That's
is
the
we've
one.
done them all quite a few times.
I don't remember Handsome and Gretel.
We've done that one.
We have done it, but you don't remember it, so maybe it's.
So
been a
with this
while.
one.
What was that last one, the ice,
Snow Maiden.
Snow Maiden.
snow maiden, ice maiden?
Seems seasonally appropriate.
What's that?
That
Snow
seems
maiden.
seasonally appropriate, the snow maiden.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Hansel and Gretel's probably a bit more Halloween.
With witches and,
Yeah.
It's been a
So-
while since we've done the Snow Maiden.
We have done it.
We have done it, but
Yeah.
it's been like, my kids were
Wow.
much littler when
We
we
used
did
to
that,
do
so.
kind of the same thing every year,
We did Scrooge every year forever,
then we did maybe the Snow
and then we
Maiden once,
did Snow Maiden, and
then we went back to Scrooge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're gonna have a whole bunch of new kids, so if you repeat one at this point,
yeah, well, we,
we know
since we
we
did
did
Scrooge
last
last,
year?
we did Scrooge.
It was Scrooge?
Yep,
yeah.
that was good.
because we,
Snow Maiden.
Which we've
we-
done twice since I've been
yeah,
here.
because
It
we
changed a little
requested
bit.
that one.
Okay,
It did change a little bit,
yeah,
So what are we doing, the Snow Maiden?
so, preference?
Snow
Snow
Maiden.
Maiden, yes,
Snow
Snow Maiden,
Maiden.
so.
Snow Maiden.
Yeah.
Thumbs up?
Yep.
And we wanna do it in a matinee,
Matinee,
so I'll see what she comes back with
Yeah,
time
it just-
wise.
if you, matinee, we'll do a hands, matinee, raise your hand, please.
Well, or or Friday of the tree lighting
Yeah, so you want the matinee
on
on Sunday,
Sunday.
right? That's what everybody just voted on, I think.
Well,
But
you,
if
no, you
there are
just
two
said,
options.
Votes for Sunday matinee, who wants Sunday matinee?
yeah, okay, sorry,
Okay,
I missed
anybody
yourself.
voting for Friday tree lighting evening?
I'm not voting.
Okay, so,
I like night.
I think we just got lucky last year because the weather was bad and they had to postpone the tree lighting, and then it worked out great for us,
We had,
but.
we had a bigger crowd than we had the year before, you're right. Alright, so Erica, you're going to contact
Doing it right now.
Barbara. Alright, you have we have the appeal letter,
mhm.
and all we need is to approve it and it can be sent out.
I can start getting it printed.
Alright.
Morgan, did you get a copy of it?
I don't think so, it's not
Okay.
ringing a bell, I've read everything else you said.
Alright, I have a copy. Right, you
This is a fundraising appeal?
Mhm.
Yeah, this is our normal annual appeal that we do.
Doesn't have your name on it yet, cause you weren't here. Yeah.
Okay.
I know I said I was gonna work on it before this meeting, and I worked on it literally right before this meeting, I couldn't even get it finished. I was just trying to make it shorter. I feel like when I get a solicitation in the mail, I don't read it. So I was trying to bring it down, so
You know, it's really hard to do them, I have a hard time with Dorset.
Would you like me to help? This is what I do for a living.
yeah.
Yeah, I can help if you'd like.
Excuse me, it's 6
7.
Wanna do it tonight?
It says here 6.
I
I think we're
put
trying to
down the
get
wrong
it
time
out.
on the director's report.
Oh, cause I was
I
like,
go,
well, that's
yeah.
good. I was thinking
I
it's
can-
good if it's 6 o'clock, cause they could
can
get
The
Yeah,
the
that's
advertising is
right.
on at 7. All the advertising.
But if you want, I mean, if you wanna shorten it, I can.
7 on there.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
you-
I
Well-
was kinda,
I say that, schools,
Just taking
it's
notes
onto the
and stuff.
schools, with it on there, and it's got been in the newsletter.
I feel like the last one,
I
I
just,
love that last.
well, it all depends
I
on
bullet point a lot of
if
these
we're,
out,
how did you
Yeah.
work on
and
Saturday?
then
Well, it won't be that late anyway.
So you're gonna put a QR code in here?
Yep.
I can take a
Yeah,
swing at it.
agreement with city,
Uh-huh.
second and third sentences there, I just seen a lot of.
Mhm. Yeah, I can take a swing at it. See what we have that in Word, can you send it?
Say that again?
I've got it in Google Docs, but I need it, by the end of the month, cause it usually goes out the second week of November.
If you email me the link, I can go in there and make suggestions. I won't change it without doing track changes. And if anybody wants to change anything back, you'll be able to do that.
It's been shared with you, in
Perfect.
Docs.
I'll take a look at it. I agree, I think it's a bit long.
We're good with that? Everybody knows where we stand, because I don't. I'm thinking that you're going to look at it and make changes if you feel it's appropriate, and then it's going to, what, go sent out?
Well, it'll be
No.
in, everybody will wanna look at it to
Yeah,
make sure
it's
that
gotta
you
be
all
approved
agree.
again,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so the action plan is for Morgan to make the
Mhm.
changes into Google Docs
Mhm.
and then get distributed to us, and then can we vote via email?
Deadline has to be the end of the month, so I can get it
So then
printed
we
in
need to
time, so
do
it can
that,
go out,
we
yes.
need to do that via email.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
well, the problem is, if you vote during emails, that makes it a meeting. And
Do
it's
we have
not-
to, I mean, is it an actual vote?
it just,
I
it
say I
it
agree
doesn't
with
have,
it.
no, you don't have to do a motion to vote on this, I just needed final approval by
Right.
today, so I could get the ball rolling on getting it printed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll leave it that unless somebody objects, like really objects, we'll go with what's written, then you can get it printed in.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Sound like
shall
a-
we set a time for rejections to go in?
October 31st, if I
No,
don't get,
Well, no, I'm
rejections
saying
have
let's
to
do
be
it
before that.
faster.
okay,
So how about like 5 days from now, if you don't
If-
hear from any one of us wanting to change it,
Right.
then it's fait
I
accompli.
think as soon as you get it, you should look, within and get it, because you can't wait 2 and 3 and 4 days, people forget,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're going, oh, I wonder what, so yeah, I'd say ASAP.
So I'm
And if
gonna,
you don't hear from people after a couple
Saturday the
days,
26th.
okay,
if you don't hear from people within
Mhm.
2 days, say,
Look for
figure
it.
it's okay,
Mhm.
and you can send it out. Because sometimes mine gets lost in junk mail.
Well, that's
And I
why I
never
handed
see
out
it.
at last month's meeting.
Well, that's why I had a copy of it, I know.
so this is a physical letter that goes out?
Yes.
Mhm.
And then how are you, it's just a regular envelope, how are you packaging it?
It goes in one of our letterhead envelopes with a return envelope in it,
Okay.
and,
What's it have on top of it? Is there a
It
letterhead
goes-
on
no,
top?
that,
There will be, right?
yeah, I'll show you.
Now, the other question is, who's going to stuff all these envelopes and mail them out?
Typically,
We have
Yeah.
done it in the
That-
past at
how
Trustees.
many pieces,
I can't hear you.
how many are we
Three,
sending out?
over 300 go out.
Okay. Well, that shouldn't be too bad.
So this is what it usually gets printed on letterhead
Okay.
with the return envelope.
Oh, yeah, I've received these, yes, okay. Okay. Maybe,
We folded them at the library.
Yeah, cause we use the folder.
Why don't
So
you?
we have a
Oh.
folder.
I print them
And
down
then
at the
you just
Dorset
have to-
Library, and then we use a folding machine to fold them all, and then we stuff them.
I can help you with
Cause we usually, well, we won't have a meeting before then, so
Right.
I usually try to get them out right before Thanksgiving.
Well, we have a meeting before Thanksgiving, but
The goal is always second week of November to get them out. So
that.
people,
You'll probably wanna have them on eyeballs before
Yeah.
Christmas season starts in earnest.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
okay. So you're stuffing them in Dorset or here?
you know, I usually bring them here, and if I put out a couple dates and times, and if anybody shows up, they help me stuff them.
Okay, that's what I was trying to stumble through.
If not, I sit here and I stuff them and they go out.
Because Arlene and I have been down here before
Yep.
stuffing them,
Mhm.
and you've been, you know, you cross
We
the
used to
doorway sometimes,
bring them to a meeting, it's
Mhm.
probably the October meeting,
probably.
and
Mhm.
we would sit here and conduct the meeting, and everyone would be stepping on the ropes at the same
Yeah.
time,
Mhm.
Okay,
so.
on to the trustee vacancy, we know we,
Wait,
Uh,
you skipped scary stories.
Yeah, we already
Oh,
covered
we did
that.
that.
Sorry, you did.
um,
I know, well, I tried to do mom and you said no, it was later, so I thought, didn't know if we we're talking scary stories again.
the select board has not received any applications, so I assume that Kristen?
Yes.
Hasn't sent it. I did try to email her and tell her that it needs to go to the select board, because those are the people that appoint. We don't have anything to do with that anymore.
I
Sometimes
thought
they
we
listen,
sent a recommendation.
Yeah, you should.
sometimes they listen to us, sometimes they don't,
Why don't we forward
huh?
why don't we forward her information to the
We
select board?
can,
That would seem to make the most sense and get it done quickest.
I mean, we did that with you,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I know is that and when I contacted them, they said, no, they haven't gotten any, I contacted Kristen and I said, the select board needs it there, and I said, we'll have a meeting, and it will be brought up, and maybe it will get forwarded tonight or tomorrow or whatever.
So we need an action item, who's gonna forward it?
No, I don't think so, anybody can forward it.
So she's
Well, I mean,
asking
it should-
who is going to.
Yeah.
Oh,
who's-
yes, you're right, who wants, I mean, she sent it to you, do you want it forwarded? or do you
I'm
want me to
forwarding it
forward
right now.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
I'm forwarding it to Charlie Rockwell and Debbie Baker, co-chairs of the board, select board here in Rupert.
Okay,
Perfect.
that's word great. Okay.
And so she was the only one for the,
Well, they
Trustee.
said they got no
right,
other,
but anyone
so
else,
I'm
I mean, that's the only
assuming
one that,
that nobody else
That's just the one I brought.
okay.
said anything. So our director search, we've had 3 applications, and I understand there's another one in the works, should be coming soon.
There is one, I've heard from one other applicant that they will be sending it this week.
So we need to start interviewing because time's running short. First of all, I guess, who do you think should be in the interview? Should we have the whole board or what?
Well, I think the first step is to determine what questions we're going to ask, because every single candidate must be asked exactly the same questions.
Right.
So we need somebody to come up with,
I had a list of questions that we had on the last
Yeah.
director.
And you interviewed one time, so.
yes,
I'm sure did you
Long time
feel
ago.
we had too many people?
no,
That's, cause I didn't want,
Do you have the list of questions?
potential candidate to feel intimidated.
I don't
No,
think
I'm
that's.
putting
I
stuff
didn't
away.
feel it. You never too different, you wouldn't feel intimidated again.
What year was it?
First meeting.
Yeah, what year was that?
2021.
Yeah.
So it would have been 2020.
I'll look for the question and send them around, and then we can kind of add to it or whatever.
So,
Alright.
shall we get a deadline set for getting the questions together?
Application
So
deadline
that-
is the 31st.
Right? So we should have it ready, I think,
Questions
by
the
then,
31st, yeah.
Yeah,
so that we can schedule the interviews immediately after the deadline has passed.
What is the date?
October 31st was the deadline, is the deadline for application. What do you mean for the
For the
questions?
questions.
2020.
No, like when's the date, the
Yeah,
deadline?
when should we have the questions
It's the same
done?
day,
By the
October
31st.
31st.
Yeah,
So we're
So
ready to
well,
go.
Fine.
perhaps we should have it done a few days
You know what?
before that, so we can look at it and make any changes.
Why don't we say
Okay,
by
so
Saturday then?
okay, I thought Erica was gonna look for them.
Oh, there
I
they are.
have
And
one.
send them to everybody,
Okay.
and then we can
Yeah,
send
she
it out to
has,
everybody,
and
and
I have them here somewhere.
I got them right here.
I have them too.
So I have to change a little bit of fiddling because I had some stuff in here from the people that interviewed.
Yeah.
So I'll take that out and I'll send them to you tonight or tomorrow morning.
Right.
okay.
Like how this one is
And then
how this one
everyone
is,
can
and I
just
have that too.
add
Add or subtract.
or subtract questions.
Yeah. They're pretty standard questions.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up in the trustees manual and said, standard questions for interviews, that's where I got the ones, and pretty much what was on there. All right, does everyone want to participate in the interview?
I will if I can.
What's that mean?
I'm busy.
You what?
I'm busy. I told
Oh, you're
Jean,
busy.
I've got at least 3 nights of the week that I'm late in Dorset, so it just depends what
Oh.
days they are.
Oh, okay.
We should probably try to do them all like in a row. That would
That's
be
what we
the
did the
most-
last time,
time.
we had 4 people. We had the interview, and then we had a break between.
Because they're not supposed to see each other, right?
Huh?
Oh, that doesn't matter.
And then we interviewed the next person, nobody had. Yeah, that's what we did all in the same night.
Yeah, yep.
And that worked well, and, only 4 people should be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Really,
Do we wanna
So-
try to set a time for that? At least a tentative time for that?
I think we should,
Yeah,
because otherwise we'll,
right. Yeah.
like we do,
We're doing all 4 in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally.
Let's do it on a Monday then, because at least we know I don't usually have, and you don't have any Monday, right?
No,
do you wanna come to the interview?
but I
I didn't
did,
even need any interviews.
Huh?
I think that would be good. He has experience in this job. And any questions that
Yeah,
come from the
definitely add
candidates
questions.
could be answered.
Right, yeah, they could be answered.
Not the 11th, because that's Veterans Day.
And I'm out of town.
So what's the,
18th to the 25th.
when's our next meeting?
Isn't that just before?
What do we have on
Oh,
the
yeah,
18th,
yeah,
26th?
next meeting
All
would
right,
be the
just
18th.
our meeting
Never
is
mind,
November
the 25th,
18th.
I guess.
The next meeting is November 18th. The week before is Veterans Day,
Mhm.
and then the week after is the Monday before
Do
Thanksgiving.
we have anything?
That's too close to
Okay, the
Thanksgiving.
18th
That's
works
too
for
close
us.
to Thanksgiving, yeah.
18th works for me.
What's that?
The 18th works for me.
Yeah, it's
That's
25th.
That's our
Monday.
meeting
Because of
tonight.
meeting.
Well, maybe we
Yeah.
change the meeting date and have the interviews on the 18th, can we
We
do that?
could,
Cause then we could also stuff envelopes if we move the meeting up, yeah?
Hmm?
Could we
Have the
stuff
meeting
envelopes?
earlier?
Have the meeting earlier, we can all
Okay.
do
what do you mean
envelopes.
earlier? A different
Earlier in the
day?
A
month.
different
Yeah.
day, yeah.
Earlier in the
Fourth?
month.
Yeah, that's right.
I would do the 4th. That would give me a few
Do
days
the
to get
4th to
everything.
get the, for
October
interviews
4th?
or
Just like
for
in 2 weeks.
stuff, for
November
our
4th.
meeting?
We
Well,
don't
there-
have much
there's
to
a
discuss before.
DRB meeting we have on here.
That's all right.
We
Okay.
won't
Let's hit
have
the
anything to
DRB.
discuss.
Hmm?
I said, he said we won't have much to discuss.
No, I
Which is
mean,
true.
there's nothing lined up that we'll have to discuss before then. Except for the interviews, which will happen after that anyway.
Right, so that would be a good time to talk about the
Talk
questions
about
we're
the
gonna ask and
questions
everything.
and,
Okay.
yeah, and how we're gonna,
So,
What are we
all right.
doing
who's
now?
gonna question and.
Board
I
meeting
know.
will be on November 4th,
And the interviews will be up
November 18th.
November 18th.
okay. And, we're,
I'll put a post on the website about the date change for the board meeting.
Right.
Mhm.
so what time would we start interviewing?
What time
We
can
figure
we
half
get
an
here?
hour each? Is that what we
I
did
would-
last time?
Gotta give it a half hour.
You think-
At least
At
half
least.
hour.
I would say allow 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And if it's shorter, then that's fine.
Well, it'd be nice to be able to talk a minute too,
Right.
between people.
Yeah, so we'd have to block them out to an
Can we
hour.
start at 6:30?
I would say start at 6.
6.
6? Okay. I mean, it works for me, I mean,
Does
but
that
I'm not
work for
That
working,
means
so.
we'll be here till 10 o'clock?
Potentially. If they all accept interviews. Cause they can also decline having an interview because between then and now and then, who knows, you
Right.
know?
Mhm. Yeah, six.
Could we start at 4? Or is that you guys won't be out by then?
We close at 5 down there.
5:30?
5:30.
Yeah.
I can bring snacks.
I wonder if we can go home. We can't stay in for 4 hours.
We'll just bring one of the X pens and right back there.
So 5:30, then 6:15, 7:00, and 7:45. We're all gonna be brain dead by the end of the night, but.
He says by the end of the night,
Because you
I'll
have
try to
to-
get back.
I know, I'm like,
That's right after Halloween, we're gonna be real cranky.
Yeah,
That's true.
no, that's the board meeting.
No, this is,
Oh,
board meeting's gonna be.
Yeah, the 18th,
I'll still be cranky.
yeah.
Unless you wanna do it in 2 different nights,
I think that's more
Oh.
difficult.
the interviews, huh?
No, I think just do it all in one night.
Well,
Does 5:30
I
work?
just, put it out there.
5:30?
No?
It's fine with me.
5:30, better?
All right, interview is 5:30.
It seems like the last time that they were all, think about 30 minutes, it didn't seem like it went a whole,
No,
What, longer
I
than
thought,
that?
I thought we
No.
did it 30 minutes and then
Had
we
more
had
time in between.
Yeah.
and then,
Uh-huh.
That's what I mean,
Unless-
they can leave, we can talk, and then the next one can come.
Yeah.
no, I probably had it written somewhere, if I could find it. All right, who contacts the people about the interview? That be me?
I think it should be, yes.
Huh?
Yes, it should be.
That's what I thought, but I'm just double checking.
But that won't be till after the 31st in case we get more.
Huh?
I said that won't be till after the 31st in
I
case
know.
we get more.
All right, any other things that we missed?
Chimney, I went to the select board and asked if they had any plans to take care of the chimney, and they said, you know, it was on their list, and I said, well, you know, like, we just can't leave it like this, something needs to be done. And I asked, and Tom said, asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said, no, thank you. I said, but I'd be happy to call Black Magic Chimney and have them come out and give us a quote. I said, would you be willing, you know, would it be okay with you if I called Black Magic, had them come out and give you a quote? And they said, yeah. So I called Black Magic,
Uh-huh.
and they're not gonna make it out probably until December. But
I called Black Magic for my own chimney. It's going to cost me $300 to have them come out and look at it. And then they aren't even coming until December 3rd or something like
Right.
that.
And then,
I have
then
a-
it won't even get done for 4 weeks after that.
We have a guy that we endorse it that's much more responsive and less expensive.
Does chimney, you
They're
can
from
cap the
Bennington,
chimney?
yeah.
Really?
We have a different one who did our house too, Northeast Chimney Service. You get a
Where's that
couple
from?
quotes. He's in Brooklyn.
So this is just putting a cap on, this
Yeah,
isn't.
he does
I didn't know,
Yeah.
I didn't know, you know,
You know what,
that stuff out.
whoever does, they're probably gonna look at the chimney and say, this needs to get work,
Well, yeah.
which,
But it's
It's
not a
above and
working, it's
beyond.
not a working chimney.
no, they insist it is, they insist that
The
their
town
furnace,
Tom is confusing, there's 2 chimneys
and that's
coming
what
out
I
of here.
told them, and.
It's not even hooked up, it's not even hooked up to it, right? Like,
No, it's not,
even
because there's
possible.
a back chimney that's hooked up to the furnace, because that's what he always checked when I said, there's a bird in the chimney. He refuses to acknowledge that this chimney exists.
You just need
So-
something to
So-
keep the
Well,
birds from.
Rich
getting-
Baker would know, wouldn't he? Cause doesn't he do all the work on the,
Yeah, Rich Baker would know exactly,
Yeah.
for
Which chimney
definitive,
that-
which one, because there's no
Alright.
heat that comes out of this one whatsoever.
Right, alright, I will talk to Deb and Rich. Yeah, I'm surprised that Debbie didn't say anything about that at the meeting. Because I don't know, because he insisted, he said, I've been up on that roof and I know, and I'm like, okay. I have to,
Who's been up on it, Tom?
Tom. So,
Tom says a lot of things.
Okay, all I know.
But if you could send me your
Mhm.
chimney guy, and if you could send me your
Who
chimney
was your
guy,
chimney guy?
Darren Sharp,
I will be
What's his
happy
first name?
Darren,
Darren?
Darren, D-A-R-E,
Um,
the Bennington.
get a hold of them and see if they can
Black
come back to
Magic
us.
It's
But
usually
real
pretty,
sharp.
pretty
Well,
fast.
that's
Mhm.
what I
What,
want.
then they quoted us
They're
at
not gonna, all they're gonna do is
$5,000
look,
for
and
a
it's
$400 job.
$300 just to come and look.
Yeah,
And I went like, oh, that's fine, huh? And my son thought, what? I said, well, I've
alright,
already,
so we'll get.
all right. We are moving on to the agenda. Oh, we must be moving on. Job description we need to finalize, because that never was finalized. For the
Sure.
director's position.
Mhm. And then policy,
No, I need the job description.
no, I know,
The policy, that, I don't, I can't remember what the policy was for. Remember, you said I can't do that until I have the job description.
No, you need a policy to deal with the things you change in the job description. One of the things we were changing was, are they gonna have vacation pay, are they gonna have whatever, what the salary was gonna be? So we need a policy to implement that once we have the job description in place. It would just basically mirror the job description.
Say that one more time?
It would basically mirror the job description.
Okay, we
And I
have,
think one of the things I circulated was, the information about the rising minimum wage, January first is 1401. And, you know, my suggestion was that we provide a regular raise to the, whatever the position is, that kind of reflects the rise in the minimum wage, so that we don't end up with this, with the salary getting closer and closer to the minimum wage. Because that'll happen if we don't change the salary regularly, but the minimum wage goes up every year here in Vermont.
will it continue till when? Is it-
Forever.
have to have- How can it do it forever?
Because that's what the statute says.
That's what New York's doing too.
Yeah. Every year, they reset the minimum wage in Vermont
this is for
based
the
on.
state of Vermont.
Huh?
Yeah,
This is for the state of Vermont.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that.
it goes up every year based on the, rate of
Cost of living.
inflation, cost of living, and it's either 5% or, the lesser of 5% or whatever the PCI is.
I think that, yes, we should do, evaluations and give raises, but I don't think we should say we're gonna hook it to anything specific. I think we should base it on qualifications and the work that's been done, you know. I think you're right.
The problem I see is that if we don't keep the distance between the position pay and the minimum wage, then you get closer to the minimum wage.
No, cause we're gonna keep going up. So I'm not to say we can't do a 5% raise if that's what we feel, but I feel like we're gonna get locked into something that we might not,
You can
should
always
be
change it
doing.
later if you feel that it's getting too.
Is the,
Too high.
wasn't the minimum wage, they don't change it every year though, do
Yeah, they do,
Yeah.
it's, yeah,
It's been, it's been increasing every year.
Cause I thought it was like the same for a while, and then they were gonna increase it to $15, so they were starting to do the bigger chunks of increases.
It never got passed through the House.
Oh, so it's not $15, it's not no longer the goal,
No,
cause we were adjusting
it may
all
be,
of our stuff.
it may
and
be
yours
far
was-
higher than 15.
yeah, I think the new one is like, it's gonna be closer to 20, but they have an end goal of a new date, like years down the road.
So the 15 didn't pass, so it was gonna be 20?
I
Oh,
don't
it's
know.
1401 in January, and probably it'll be 15 by the following year. I think it went up, I don't remember the figures, it's something like 41 cents an hour or something. Because it's a lesser of,
It's higher in New York, so you're gonna be competing with New York too, you know, if you want.
Well, the minimum wage in New York is under 12 an hour still.
I don't think so.
No, it isn't.
It's 15 something. It's going up every
Yeah,
year,
it
just
went
like
up.
the
Okay.
bonds is. I don't have a signal here, so I can't look it up, but.
no, there's
I thought New
Wi-Fi,
York- I
there's,
thought New York was 15.
there's a
In-
library.
The
in
last
city,
year it
it's
went up
even
to 15
higher.
something.
It did?
Mhm.
Okay. Somebody might wanna let of the businesses over in New York know.
That's a different problem.
Fair point, yeah.
Well, it depends on what business you have.
Off the subject, I talked,
Let me
Yeah.
say this 'cause I got it. New York City, Nassau, Suffolk, and Westchester 16, remainder of New York is 15.
okay, so I'm glad they did raise it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were kind of scaffolding it upward.
Now that poor woman who works in the deli at Price Chopper is actually gonna be making somewhat decent since she's been there for,
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
and not just making $12 an hour.
Poor woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, quit here and go to Manchester and you can start out as cashier at $14, $15 an hour.
She was just gonna work on the road crew, make 20 an hour, and I'm like, you should do it.
work on what?
The road crew. I
Uh-huh.
had quite a long talk one night, so.
Okay, so,
Okay.
we're a little off.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I know. We're supposed to, because it's being taped, so we're supposed to stay right on task. So, what are we going to do?
Well, I think we need to set a pay to go with the position and assume that we're not gonna hire anybody who does not meet the qualifications in the job description. So that would be, whatever that pay is, it's gonna be the pay. And you know my opinion on offering anything less than what we're paying Stephen?
Yeah,
Well,
I do.
Stephen has years of experience. I
So
feel
do
like
all the
if-
people who applied.
but
Same
Stephen
alignment.
came in much lower,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
we gave him a raise after he was here a year or two, or whatever
But
it was.
I don't
probably
think you wanna,
shouldn't
you
been.
don't wanna start at $15 an hour,
Oh,
because
no,
that's
Yeah.
it was more than
Yeah.
that, but it wasn't, no, I don't think we should start at $15 an hour either. But,
But I think, do you remember how this worked? I think after 3 months or 6 months?
She started at $15 and then we upped them to $16.50 and then
18,
18.
and then $20 this year.
$16.50, is that what you
No,
said?
six,
I
no,
don't
it was
think we ever went to
16.50,
18.
yeah,
And then
no,
I-
it
when
went
I was
16.50,
mine,
then
I moved
20.
them up to 20.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But if we're,
So-
I feel like if we're gonna start somebody at the same amount Steven's getting with 12 years of experience, Steven should get something. Cause he's been 12 years of library experience, he's a certified librarian, and then bringing someone in that doesn't have library experience and paying them the same amount that he's getting paid.
Well,
is
at
kind of
least,
like-
at least two of the candidates
And
have
a lot of experience.
a lot of
Yeah.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
Yeah, like a lot of.
substantial
Yes, yeah.
experience, like.
Yeah.
in big libraries, but not a little small library, which is going to be different for them.
Well, Beth is from Pollitt, so.
Well,
Beth
it's not
is
very
from-
big.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying, that's not, but she has a lot of, you know, fair amount of experience, so.
Beth,
And you wanna keep somebody if possible.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, I've only been in this town for 4 years coming up, and that's been 3 directors.
Okay, COVID had something to do with that. So, I mean, that's
A lot
initially
to do
why
with that.
Pat left to begin with, so, I mean, that has to.
And that's where, we had directors for years
Yeah.
before that,
Ruth and Thelma was the two of them each. were-
until they aged out,
Mhm.
really what happened.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and that director was under too much stress, and she, for her health, she had to resign. And that's when we kind of went, and we had some, oh, I'll do it, and she thought it would be very easy, and she could take it on, and it was a lot.
Mhm.
And then you had somebody else that said, you're not doing it right, you have to do this, and then we finally got a person that worked in a library before coming here. And it became too stressful for him, health-wise, also, I guess. And then we got you.
Well, then I guess we have to ask why a small library like this would be so stressful.
I think that there were, I don't wanna, I think in there were some health issues,
Yes.
not related to the job per se. I mean,
Yes.
that was kind of my understanding, and I believe that he was on disability and could only do so many hours of work. In fairness, I don't think it
Okay.
was this job being
But
so terrible, I think there were some
this-
other things going on. in
And
that
when
situation.
COVID hit, this library was nowhere near as organized as it is now.
Right, I mean,
And
when you,
then
when Stephen
it
walked
got-
in the door, it was nowhere near as
No.
organized as it is now.
No. I mean, and so Paul did a lot to help clean up this library. And Stephen did a heck of a lot more to clean up the library.
Is 10 hours a week a reasonable amount of time?
Well, that was the other thing. When we had them years ago, they had an assistant. And the assistant did the publicity, flyers, that kind of stuff. And I think helped with the books, right? And they were only like 10 hours a month or something, it wasn't very much.
The assistant.
Yeah,
From my standpoint, I can't account for what I accomplished here in the 10 hours because I wasn't doing just the normal, what the normal job is gonna turn into. I was automating the system, I was cleaning up, so I've got at least 1,200 hours more than I was actually accounted for in payroll into this whole project. My professional opinion going forward, the next person, there's no need to have an assistant per se. The next person should be 15 hours a week,
Okay.
all open hours that the library's open, to guarantee that we're open every single hour that we advertise that we're open, whether or not we have a volunteer to sit there at the desk or not. Because right now, we are unfortunately losing patrons because we're not able to be open all of our open hours. They're now actively seeking other libraries to fill their
I
needs.
1000% agree with that. We need to have that person here during those open hours, and then the volunteers can stay on.
Yes.
But then they'll have time, they won't leave, because Stephen did, like he just said, above and beyond any expectations anybody had for him here. And so they're not gonna have to do all that work, they can just be a red librarian and have some volunteers doing something to get the work done within that time. So
Yeah.
there's no need for
Yeah, they can-
an assistant
they can
after,
focus-
after this
Yeah, they can focus more on
programming and
building up programming, getting things like that. So,
promoting the library.
Yeah,
So
'cause-
your recommendation is that we should have a 15-hour at minimum?
15 hour, but still have the volunteers run the circulation desk. Having the paid staff here would also be backup for the volunteers because there's still, this whole process is taking longer because most of my volunteers are here one day a month, one shift a month. So by the time they come back in, they've forgotten half of what they need to, what the computer system involves. So having somebody here that knows how to use the system because they're using it, 5 days a week, can be their backup and be like, no, okay, this is how you do this, I can help you find, and really be kind of the librarian.
Well,
And-
I think we should listen to the expertise we have and make that 15
Yeah.
hours. And also, I'm uncomfortable with the extra work you've done for no pay. I think that's wrong. We should find a way to compensate you for the work that you have done beyond the contracted rate.
But luckily, the next person, unless they want to redo all of my systems here, which they are more than welcome to if they want to. If that's what scratches their itch, they can do that. But they don't have to. The bones were there. I just kind of
Well,
cleaned everything
I
up.
think like in the job description and what we're gonna say, here's what your main responsibilities are. Do not redo the whole system, start focusing on the library and like making it
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
and rebuilding up
Right.
our patron base.
Yeah.
yes.
So then let's change that job description to reflect that that's the priority.
Yes, because we're right now poised to be able to expand even more. Like we're not part of the interlibrary loan system throughout Vermont, and we could do that, but that's going to take somebody being here on a regular basis to do the mail and do things like that, and kind of spearhead that. Next year, if the funding is there, we could join Biblio Plus, which is the new library streaming service,
Right.
which is through Green Mountain Library Consortium,
We've been using it.
which is like $300 a year, and it would give a streaming service to our patrons where they could watch TV shows and movies at home with their library card. So, but that needs somebody that can be here and kind of help when a patient comes in and they're like, I can't log in, I can't do this. They can help them through that. Yeah, I mean, one of the main reasons of my departure is because I don't have the flexibility that this job needs to be here when a volunteer can't be here. I can't fill that role, so it's kind of naturally time for me to go and open it up for somebody that can be here for those hours.
Well, and that was your plan initially, was to do the consortium, I remember that.
Yes, and and we might even down the road in a few years be able to join a brick and mortar consortium with other libraries. But we just need to get to a point where our patron base is back and actually using the library.
Right.
Because right now,
And that's where the fundraising comes in, because it costs a lot of money.
and there are grants out there to do stuff like that. We're just lacking in patron usage at the moment, and that's what we need.
Right.
That being said, when Stephen and the one before him were hired, they were hired at the 40 hours a month. Didn't work out to be the week-wise.
The
But
52
that-
weeks a year.
Yeah,
And it never did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was
we
always-
shorted our.
Well, it never was like that, because they worked the 40 hours, they got paid their money, and they didn't work the rest of the time. They took the time when they just worked the 40 hours, and then that's where we got lost somewhere. The communication
Mhm.
was not there, because that's what we always did, because we said, well, she's getting paid for it. If she's here 40 hours, if she's here 30 hours, we're still paying her because, she's doing it another time. So we also have to decide on if we're going to do just, instead of, 40 hours, it'd be what did you say, 20 more?
15 times
Well, 5 more.
I honestly,
It would be 20.
60.
It would be $20 more, right? 20 hours more.
It's
You have to
60
figure
hours.
From 10 to 15, and so it would be
I really think
60 hours.
somebody should reach out to Andrea to see how often she actually writes checks.
Once a month, right?
It changed up because I actually sent my payroll into her, the timesheets into her before the end of September, because the last day of September was a Monday, and she wrote the checks out on the last day of the month versus the first Monday of the month. So I don't know if she's writing checks out every single, if Monday is her check writing day. I was told by Paul that it was one Monday, the first Monday of the month. But now this has led me to believe that there's others, because I don't know. Honestly, somebody should approach Andrea and ask about that, ask whether or not there's direct deposit available for the employee here, since it's processed through the town. Because I don't think the town employees are getting paid once a month, I think they're getting paid, bi-weekly or whatever.
Probably, yeah.
Because if they're paid on a bi-weekly basis, that really changes how this will work, because it should either be 15 hours a week or 60 hours a month. It should not be either. It should not be. It needs to be worked out differently in order for it to work out properly on paper.
But you're talking about 15 hours a week, 52 days.
Weeks a year.
52 weeks a
because-
year, yes.
So it's more than 60 hours.
Right.
Correct. That's where that's where we got lost.
Right.
And I would, if there's gonna be vacation time, I would strongly suggest that the next director have it lined up so that week is fully covered by volunteers. So there's no disruption in service. So, because once you get it going, any disruptions will set you back
Mm-hmm.
more than you want it to.
Okay, so what do we need to do?
We need to
We need
decide.
somebody to redraft the job description. We need to decide whether we're gonna make it 15 hours a week.
I think you should say 15 hours a week other and additional hours may be required, because if Steven put, you know, put like doing all the work for the golf thing, or the plant sales when you guys are like, you should get paid for it.
Which is what
But
the
it wouldn't be-
original,
the
the
board should be
original
doing
draft.
The board should be doing it, but,
Yeah.
Right.
you know,
But it-
sometimes.
But that
they're-
doesn't
can
always
say-
happen.
It was also in the job descriptions
Approximately
for the
15 hours a
director
week,
that
some
they
weeks
had
it
to
may
be
be 10,
attend.
but some weeks it
all
is the
the
That
full
Well,
time.
I
is
think
the
the way I.
Well,
And I disagree with that.
Yeah,
If the director is going to be here, the open hours, then why do they have to be at the fundraisers?
They shouldn't,
No,
but
right.
like
No.
programs and stuff, because this is where
Programs?
I've
Yes.
worked, I've got 5,000 extra hours because I'm salary and I'm doing programs. And, you know, they should be, if it's hourly, they should, you know, or just like as some weekends and evenings maybe, you know, that kind of thing. Should
Well, I
we say
think,
that?
yeah, I think the way I worded the first draft, there is a provision in there for submitting timesheets, and that we will pay for any extra work, but we can always add that, you know, you have to tell us ahead of time, or we have to know ahead of time.
approval
there's going to
required
be-
ahead of
right.
time, yeah.
But I think we should leave that flexibility in, so that, you know, when we have these events and we do want the director,
Right.
then we're all aware of that, and the individual gets paid.
Cause that wouldn't be like a regular occurrence.
No,
that
but
they would
there
have.
should be no
No.
work that is being performed by the director that is not paid.
Right. Totally agree.
So you guys want me to take another crack at that job description? If you just tell me what the consensus is on what it should include? Because we really need that in place before we interview.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Okay. So first, we have to decide. I personally, well, I'll ask everybody else. I think we should take the recommendation of 15 hours rather than 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
With the
Agree.
understanding that the 15 hours are the open hours of the library, and not 15 hours, whatever you wanna work that
Right.
week. That way then, this library is always open when we say we're going to be open.
So you specify the times in the
Right.
job description.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So those are the days they work, days and hours they work.
So then whenever you had a program that wasn't in that time, it would be extra.
It could potentially be extra. But that being said, right now, we're not seeing such an influx of patrons that we can't run programming while we're open, where it would impact the general, like, on a Saturday morning, you could have a Lego club back there
Oh, yeah.
without it impacting, you know, the entire library having to shut down.
Yeah, oh, I
Um,
totally, yeah.
But like, if you're having an author event and the author only wants to come on a Wednesday at, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's different. If you want that author, you kind of have to accommodate for that, and that's where you might incur, the extra hours.
Or stories after dark, or, you know,
Yes,
whatever.
yeah, anything that, like a larger program or a regular program that might happen outside.
Do we have consensus?
Yeah, I agree.
Me too.
The other thing is, are we doing that much a month, or are we doing the 52 weeks?
Well, I think if you're gonna do
Individually.
52 weeks, you should be providing for that potential vacation. I think to expect somebody to work
Oh,
all 52
that's
weeks
why we
is.
have to, that's why we have to decide.
So, at the last meeting, I said that vacation or sick time is the law, but this is actually under the hours, but there's no reason we should, it's like, I think it's 18 and above, and this would be
Yeah,
15.
it's.
But we shouldn't do it, cause it's 1 week of sick time. I mean, if you're gonna get sick, you should get paid for it, and I think we should do 1 week of vacation. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's unreasonable to think that somebody's gonna be available 52 weeks out of the year.
I totally agree that I don't think people are gonna work 52.
Obviously not worked in a restaurant.
No.
Even when I've been
What fun,
on
man.
vacation from here, I have been on vacation from
Right.
But,
I'm not doing business.
Yeah, oh, dear God.
yes, the law says for every 52 hours worked or something.
Yeah, so it equals,
It's
it adds
1
up to an
hour.
hour. It adds up to
A week.
a week
Yeah.
of hours
A
for
week.
over the year, yes.
Yes.
And that's something that Andrea just plugs into our
She-
payroll and it,
We do it,
It does it
we were
automatically.
doing it for like our 4 hour a week people, just because it's, if you're doing it for, you might as well, offer them a little something, cause like you say, you
But
want
if you
people to
just-
stay.
I mean, and you could put in a, since it's the first time of doing it, if you wanted to, you could always just say, available starting right after your 30-day probation or whatever, that way
Mhm.
then they're not just like immediately, well, I'm taking Tuesday
Well,
off.
most people make you wait until you earn it. But anyway,
The sick time would accrue.
huh?
Yeah, the sick time
accrues.
accrues,
Right,
but the vacation time, you guys have to figure out whether or not it's going to accrue, or if they're going to get it, or if it's gonna reset at a certain time.
so maybe it's 6 months. If they're eligible.
I don't think they should take a vacation before they've been here a while,
I don't think so either, but,
and it's part-time job,
right.
not a full-time job.
So after the 60-day probationary period,
There's a probationary period, we didn't put that in yet.
I
Mhm.
sat through a
Yeah.
probationary period.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as getting paid, what difference would it make? Cause if you're getting, why wouldn't you just, so you take that week off and you just get paid like you normally do?
Right.
Why does it have to go through Andrea? Wouldn't
I
she
think-
she doesn't have to know when you're taking vacation or not.
If we're under, if it's not written
That's
into
it.
law, I don't think we don't have to go through Andrea for that, if it's not part of the law. But it should be documented somewhere,
Yeah.
so in case down the road, in case whoever's doing it, if whoever is getting the vacation time says, well, I actually didn't get any vacation time all this, there's
Right.
documentation that,
Right.
yes, they did take vacation during certain
Well,
periods.
they have to tell
Yes.
us.
There's also actually, I think, a legal question as to whether or not the director is technically an employee of the town, as opposed to being an employee.
The library pays.
Yes, I
Yeah,
understand
he's
that.
an employee of the library, but the town takes care of the payroll
There's-
for us.
Well, they also hire, though, they make the decision on whether or not
Well,
they're going to hire.
Not the
And
director.
there's this thing called
Hmm?
joint
Yeah.
employment, where when you have two different entities that are basically engaged in hiring and employing somebody, you all get lumped into the same group. For example, if there are 15 employees altogether for the town, then you're gonna be covered by federal law too, probably. Because those are the minimum employee counts.
We don't have that many.
We don't, but does the town? How many employees does the town have?
Not very many.
but I don't think the town considers
They
Stephen
don't
an
consider
employee of the
It doesn't matter
town.
what the town considers, it's what the law would consider.
No, I don't think so.
Don't
because
question
we
though, but
pay.
if they're not contributing to the payroll, does that differentiate, do you know what I'm saying?
I
If like,
still
if,
don't understand why that works that way. It doesn't
Yeah,
make
we-
any
It
I
makes
don't
no
either.
They
sense
don't
the way
contribute-
this is set
They don't
up.
contribute to our payroll, and we actually pay them above and beyond payroll for some
For
reason.
Medicare and
sense.
Social Security.
But that's taken out of my,
Some is taken out of
And
yours,
some of it's
and
paid.
then the employee has to match it.
okay,
The other
That's
half.
for everybody, that's
Okay.
how, that's payroll. So yes, some
You
is
get
taken
anything
out.
taken out of your pay from here,
oh,
Mhm.
my,
like social security?
oh yeah, I get everything taken out. Social Security, federal,
State,
Medicare,
yeah.
state,
Okay, I just wondered.
that's why I don't get the shiny lump sum that I would normally get, I get about $80 less each paycheck.
They're treating him as an
Everybody.
employee,
Mhm.
But he's an
And
employee
we're
of the
treating-
library,
and maybe not.
but that's the
You're
way.
joint employers, we're both.
No, the town doesn't pay anything towards his
Why don't we just pay them
employment.
then?
Yeah.
Because I think what, the way it was set up, okay, it was so many years ago, and the town did it as a favor to the library, so that we didn't need a bookkeeper to be doing payroll every week. I think that's why it was set up like that.
We have one now.
But it does, it
You
does
wanna do
not matter
payroll
what
every
the
week?
intent
We have a
is.
bookkeeper.
Hmm?
We have a bookkeeper.
Are we paying her?
Yeah,
Mhm.
$25 an hour, we voted down and she's been doing it like a year.
I thought she only went like, I thought she wasn't there very often though.
She does it once a month, but we don't have,
Well, I
so it's
know
like
that.
1 hour a week, but, paying one person's not gonna add on an hour of time for her.
Well, I mean, it's not just doing his check.
But it still is,
It's
it's
also
still
filing
screwy.
all the
Yes,
tax
I
returns
know,
and
it's
stuff
not
like
that, it's not like.
The whole setup was
Okay, that's-
crazy.
But it's just still,
Well, that's
it's,
the way it was.
it's super stupid,
That's
because
right.
they own this building, so it's like it's like a municipal library building, but it's not like a municipal library, it just doesn't make any sense, it really doesn't.
No,
I wasn't there the day they.
Me either.
Yeah, none of us were there. That's the way they did the best they could. It's the way I look at it.
And
It
it can
probably
come
made
in.
sense at the time, and then it just
Right.
doesn't,
Okay,
you know,
I'm
yeah.
sure
I mean,
they had a
things have
lawyer
changed.
look into it, the town had a lawyer then,
But
Town
did,
still
Yeah.
has a lawyer.
yeah,
Yeah.
did they look into it?
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm sure they did.
And you go down there and ask the selectmen, and they weren't on the board at the time,
Right,
so
exactly.
they can't answer the question
Yeah.
either. So I don't know how you're gonna answer
But
the
there,
question.
there's no reason the town couldn't go to the lawyer and ask, is this arrangement appropriate?
But, I don't know, what difference would it make? What do you,
It's-
you
it's
wanna see
the
something
diff-
different?
The difference is, you might have other liabilities that you may not realize you have as a library. Because of this potential co-relationship.
Because I believe right now, the insurance that is on this building does not have workers' compensation on it.
Oh, that could make a big difference, if you're
So-
hurt.
So if I were to get hurt here, I
Mhm.
don't, there's no workman's comp that insurance
Right.
that covers here.
That's because you're not their employee.
Right. But
That's the
Well,
other thing.
Debbie
that
did
I'm-
ask me the other day if the library pays, did you already ask them this?
No.
Did you go, okay, and I said, why,
because
does
I
the
don't,
library pay any insurance?
I got that question asked to me too.
Yeah, and I said, no, not that I know of.
So I
Well,
said, I don't think so.
because that
but I
affects
asked-
some of our grants. I had to reapply for a grant because it did not say workman's comp. And we were not covered by workman's comp insurance on this building. And that's a Save Vermont library grant that we normally get, which is a $300 summer reading program grant.
And we didn't get it?
We got it, but it had to be, that line had to not show up on the thing that I sent them.
But it's also weird because like the UEI numbers,
We use the town's
we use
UEI
the
number.
time for
You're,
grant
you're,
stuff.
you're joint employers.
So we are,
No, that's been
we're
a
a full
problem
municipal
granting.
library,
So the grants go to them and then
yes, and then they
filter
disperse the
down
money
to
to us,
Uh-huh.
which, for
So they're
grants,
fiscal agent.
for grants, you need to be so far ahead of that because I'm not throwing her under the bus, but Andrea's a little slower to respond to things. If it's not urgent, so, yeah, I've had to email her several times, and then Erica's had to go in and actually, like, we need this information, the grant application's like tomorrow, come on.
And then
So-
sometimes it takes a long time to get the grant money from them too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other question I have is for trustee liability. For example, in selecting employees. Are we covered? We're elected officials, are we covered by whatever
No idea.
policy the town has? For our errors and omissions? If
I
we
would
screw
think
up
if
the
we're-
hiring process, can we be personally sued?
Are we town employees?
No,
We're
No, we're
hired.
elected officials.
We're elected officials.
Yeah, just like the
Okay.
select board is elected officials,
so we must
but
be
they get a
covered by
stipend at the end of the
something.
year.
But what are we
Yeah,
covered
yeah,
with?
I was
I was gonna
That's
say,
the
but we're not
question.
getting
I don't
paid,
know.
so isn't that a little bit of a,
They get a stipend, which is not the same as like full pay.
Who gets a stipend?
The select board, each member of the select board gets a different amount as a stipend at the end of the year.
It's like
How do you know
$2,000, $3,000.
They announced
It's in
that,
the budget.
they were talking about it at the select board, because
I
they
didn't think they
they
did.
increased Charlie and Deb's to like $1,500 each, cause they absorbed another role that was there into
Mhm.
theirs, so they had to vote on the increase to it, so they get a stipend, every select board member gets a stipend at the end of the year
Okay.
So is that in
for
the
their
town
service.
report?
It's in the town report, and it depends on
Have
what,
you found it in the town report?
Hmm?
I'm gonna look for it now.
School board members get a stipend.
Erica, you
Yeah.
get a quart of maple syrup.
I didn't
What
get one
more?
last year.
What more do you want?
Ask for the moon.
All right, so, cause I thought, so if there was ever, this building ever went up in flames, it would
the town would get the money
Okay,
But we
so,
would get nothing for,
No, you get
for the
nothing.
contents.
That's problematic.
Well, for contents,
well, that's what I said.
okay,
What
so,
if you don't have insurance?
according to,
on it?
according to this town budget from 2009, 2010, the town itself.
10. That's the
A little
most recent one we got.
No, we've got them all. I just pulled this one out just randomly. It actually, the town also accounts for library employee payroll in their line item budget, even though we pay it out of our line item budget.
There you
Yeah,
go,
but
joint
somewhere-
employer.
No, but some,
Uh,
This is something
but
we've
they-
been talking about
that's
since I've
been
been on the board, and I
explained
feel like it should
that
be
we
straightened
pay
out,
it, that
so
they
it
don't
means
pay the
easier for
library
grants, like
employees.
it's
Yep.
easier for payroll, 'cause I bothered my
library employee
mom.
salary budget was $7,000,
No,
actual was
library.
$5470.
yeah,
So they're counting it into their line item along with us counting it into our line item, even though they are getting reimbursed for it.
I know, but somewhere it said that.
But it does not show it on income.
It has to.
Well, somewhere it used to say it in there, that it was reimbursed by the library.
Yeah, I think it's,
It's there somewhere. Or it always has been.
But yeah,
yeah. Well, feel free in your spare time to tackle this, cause I don't wanna touch it.
And is this something we can work on like over time?
Alright, so we're
We've
back
talked
to-
about it before,
I
and
know.
never like, it's kind of, nobody knows what to do with it. And you know, it's
Alright,
sounds like a
so
Pandora's
loose,
so
like, I
box.
don't,
it
I
is
don't know.
8:30,
Well, it
we
is,
need to get
but-
going before everybody falls asleep.
Okay, so, job description, 15 hours, additional hours will be pre-approved and paid. Vacation and sick 1 week each, a probationary period of how long?
Isn't 90 days pretty typical?
90 is typical.
Okay.
And will this vacation accrue if it's not used, or will it disappear? Is it use it or lose it?
most companies, most places, they're use it or lose it.
Mine
Or
is
you
like
can
up
accrue
to
a
a certain
little.
number of hours.
Yeah.
or-
I don't get vacation time, but I get to, and my sick time, I can keep for the next year.
Oh, see, sick time,
typically
no, at the
does
end of
get
the year,
Yeah.
you have to get it, you pay it out though. As a business, you pay out sick time.
Not
Mine,
mine.
mine carries over forever.
I mean, I think
Oh.
that's your choice to pay it
But I
out.
work for the state, state.
Okay.
Mine, I
Yeah,
can
you're
accrue
right, I think I
like,
did have a choice and I just decided to do it, cause I didn't wanna be carrying it
500.
forward.
Well,
I
because
said, no,
if you carry it
at the
forward,
end of
then
the year.
suddenly at the end you get hit with
I
like
have
3 hours of, 3 years of accrued
Right.
sick time.
Yeah.
if I don't use my sick time this year, I will probably lose it because I have too much.
Oh.
Because I never take any time.
So we're gonna accrue the sick time, how much?
Equating to, I thought it was
Like-
1 week.
No, but
Yeah.
accruing it after, like, the end of the year.
Like if they don't use it.
You have to not use it.
You mean
At
like
the end of the year,
carry
and then
Carry
we'll just
over.
pay them.
So you pay it out if they don't use it? Is that
Right,
what you're
so
saying?
it's an extra week pay at the end of the year.
That's fine with me if we say that.
I mean,
I've never
sorry.
had that
Me
in any
neither.
of my
Me
experience
that's
either.
working.
what,
No, it's
Even,
usually
even
vacation.
and ours that, if you
Like if
retire,
you leave.
and you have
pay
sick
it, and
time,
don't pay out the
then
vacation.
they will pay you.
Yeah.
But
I've
only
never
like $30 a day.
I've never even had it where if I left, they paid me sick time. It was if I left and I had paid time off / vacation time, they
pay
have to
that.
pay that out, but they don't have to pay out sick time.
No.
Yeah, that's how I've had it.
I've
Okay.
never had it.
But do
And-
we
and-
wanna carry it
Well-
over for like a year or so? So that, you know, if somebody suddenly got something terrible,
Needed surgery.
they would have,
usually it's like you can carry over up to
Yeah,
one
how do we
week.
have it, I don't remember.
No,
But
we got rid of the sick time. We're now carrying over
the
one
vacation,
1 week's worth of vacation time.
just in case something happens.
A lot of places now just do it all in one.
but just let me know. Just give me a figure, give me a conclusion. Vacation, use it or lose it?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah, just make it less complicated for.
Yeah.
and what about sick?
I think you should carry that over into the next year in case we need.
I think we should at least carry it a year's
Oh,
worth
yeah.
over.
Or
Yeah, I do
2
too.
weeks, do you get maximum?
Because that's only 15 hours.
right, with a maximum of 2 weeks, yeah. You only carry over 1 year.
Maybe that's the week we should, I don't even know.
You also
If
don't
somebody
want-
has surgery or something, you know,
Also, you don't want somebody sitting here with COVID because they can't, you know.
take time off, yeah. infect everybody.
They said
Oh, I
that
got
you had
COVID.
sick time and they came in anyways.
Yeah, but the COVID, it's a week. You get off.
So you're definitely off a week for that. Okay, and that leaves us pay.
It does.
Yes, it leaves us pay. What is pay?
My 2 cents on this is I'm fine with paying the $20 an hour, but something needs to be done for Steven for doing the amount of extra.
I agree. I mean, I agree, he should be paid for the extra hours.
Some kind of like Judy said, an exit bonus, some
I
kind of.
suppose.
I did, I said, I believe that he should be compensated for the, you know, cause he's not gonna get it in the next, you know.
Yeah. With regular, cause I started out doing regular reviews, but it all kind of falls apart. You know, we had the 30, 60, 90, whatever, and then we
Mhm.
had some reviews, but then we never sit down and did, you know, we just kinda like threw some, one year
Well,
we
let's
did this
just-
one raise and.
Put a review period in the job description.
Annual.
Annual review.
And that could then,
The pay will be discussed
yeah,
and
that
determined.
could reflect either a cost of living adjustment or
It could
raise.
be more,
Right.
Well, you
See,
could do
that's
cost
why
of
I don't
living
think we do the
and
cost.
Yeah.
So how about minimum cost of living?
We do 3% at wherever.
So we're starting
so-
at, let's get the starting figure first.
20, I think it should be 20.
I do too.
Because you can work at Starbucks for $15.
Yeah.
See,
So
I
we're
said,
good with 20?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my opinion, I think start at 18, and then
I do
after
too.
90 days, you can bump them up to 20 if you want. But if after 90 days, which, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a problem, but these people, anyway. I mean, I feel like Stevens only give 20 now, and you bring someone in who hasn't been here, that doesn't know what they're doing here, at the same rate that he is.
So then you wanna have 18 with a raise if satisfactory performance at 90 days to 20?
Yes. I think
Do we
that
say-
I'm
would,
not
I said
comfortable with
20.
less than that, so,
I think that would be.
but I can compromise on 18 and then 90 days it goes to 20.
20,
Automatically,
and then a regular, like,
and then a
yearly
regular,
raise.
yeah.
We don't, okay. I would say, okay.
What? 18,
18
board
and then bump up.
and then,
It's a board decision.
yeah. Well, let's,
You know, I mean, I
Hold on.
just have a hard time saying it's going to be 20. It can be 19 and have them know why, you know, I mean, saying, okay, we want to pay you more, but they're not quite doing exactly what we want, you know, so,
if somebody doesn't get through the 90-day review to go to the
But you're
full
gonna-
rate, I think you gotta can them.
Yeah, that's
I
why
mean,
you
you
need,
have
that's why you need the
expectations.
30 and 60 days prior to
to
that.
give them,
So the 30 days
improvement
is
plan.
just, okay, you're doing great over here, but this really, and then 60 days you review that, and if by 90 days, they haven't at least shown, you know,
yep,
shown enough to earn, then you do.
I'm good with
I-
30, 60, 90.
yep,
But then at the 90, if they get to that point, they should be getting their 20.
okay.
I agree with that.
That sounds good on paper, but we didn't get those 30, 60, 90 when.
The reviews, I
That's
know, and
our
that's
responsibility.
I
That's our
tried, but
responsibility.
I know.
And you know what,
You
it has
know,
to
I
be,
was-
it has to
I
be
said-
scheduled.
Yes.
I was
So if their
agreeable to
hire
any
date is
time.
November 1st,
We
then
scheduled the
December
reviews.
1st,
Yes.
yeah,
Yep,
or,
and it has
Yeah.
to at least be the executive committee
yes,
Yeah.
doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be a complete board
right,
doing it, because it's
Right.
not a board meeting, there doesn't need to be a quorum, there needs to be
Right.
the executive committee
Doesn't
going,
have to even be published.
yep,
no,
it just
No,
has,
that's a,
No, I
that's
think
a
it-
Right,
employee.
it's a,
committee.
it's a
Yep.
committee, kind
Yeah.
of.
and it
Yeah.
needs to be documented.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Okay, so we got that, and then we're gonna do an annual increase to cost of living.
Cost of living, and then if we decide that they're doing like a super excellent job,
Okay,
then we
merit
can decide
increase.
then.
Yeah.
Or, plus merit if appropriate.
Yes.
How do we wanna do the cost of living? Do you wanna use the same formula that they use for the minimum wage? It's the lesser of 5% or the CPI. Luckily, our inflation rate is down.
And what would be the
Um,
alternative if we didn't go with that
We could come up with
formula?
our own formula.
Okay.
Yeah, you could just say each year it'd be a minimum of, 3% like your job gives. That way then they always know that they're at least going to be getting that much increase.
So
Okay, we also-
minimum
yeah, we also
3%
That
plus.
sounds good. I mean,
Okay.
we also are a nonprofit. It's not like we're raking in the money here, and I want good quality people.
But the flip side of that is we need, as a board, to work at raising more money in
Mhm.
different ways, more grants, more whatever. So that's kind of the strategic plan development, I wanted on this list too.
It is
So
on
we
there.
can work, yeah, I know, so we haven't gotten there yet, but that's one thing before another.
No, I haven't.
Do you want, I mean, it's already 20 minutes to 9.
Well, are we almost done with the job?
I think so, I think that's it. It's what, we're gonna do 3%, or the cost of living, whichever is lesser or greater, that's your choice.
Yeah.
And 3% is pretty typical,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then you can do the merit too to get it to 5%.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just 3% and,
And unusual
Meredith
for a lot of
Watson.
jobs in Vermont that completely disregard any kind
Yeah.
of.
Right.
But you have to start doing this stuff, cause you know, when I first
No, you
came
totally
to
have to start doing
Dorset
it.
was like, no, we don't need that, no, that doesn't have to, we don't need that, and then somebody came back and said, you fired me cause I'm old, and it turned into this whole big, we won, of course, cause I didn't fire her cause she's old. But, you know, they thought nothing was gonna happen, but, you know, people are changing, you know what I
Oh,
mean? And it's-
I completely agree,
Have you
like,
been
we
talking
need to
about-
be
Oh,
on
right.
par with this,
That's-
not just,
Well,
too many places are not.
All right, so,
and when do you want me to get this done and sent to you? Deadline?
October 31st.
well, it has to be there before we do interviews.
So
It'd
why
be
don't
nice-
we,
it'd
was
be
it
nice
20,
if you
what was
had
it,
it before the next
26 we
meeting.
had?
Huh? The interviews are gonna be the 18th, but our next meeting is the 4th.
Right.
So, I mean.
I'll get it done this week, but give me a
I'm gonna say,
deadline.
You know, it's
Friday.
already be the 20
Friday the
something.
25th.
Okay, thank you.
I have no problem sending it to you. Especially when I don't have to follow them.
That's your scary stories.
No, that's the 26th, that's the day after.
Yeah, I just
Oh.
think that if we set deadlines for everything,
It's the first scary story.
stuff's gonna happen.
Maybe. All right, so obviously, we don't have a policy because,
Cause that'll come after.
yes, because that comes after, so do we want to do so I know you sent that, you wanted it on the.
I
on the
just want us
agenda.
to start thinking about
Yeah, you can
doing
explain
this.
it.
It's
We're
a-
having a strategic plan.
It's-
We probably should have a committee.
A 3 and 5 year plan, right? 3, 5, 10.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's really important for fundraising to have a strategic plan, because then you can align whatever you're asking for in your
Mhm.
fundraising to your strategic plan.
Isn't that kind of what you wanted to do too?
Yeah.
That's
We
what-
Yeah.
talked about it once before.
It
didn't we?
should be looped in, it should be part of the goals committee
Okay, we can do that.
broader
They
outline.
talk about it, but they never did.
Okay.
So how about we, select members of the strategic planning
Okay,
committee?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put it to you guys, is there anybody that would like to be on this committee, first of all? Morgan, would you like to be on this?
She's the one that's experienced in doing this.
Well, she seems like she knows what she's talking about.
Sure, I can.
I should have
Do
said,
some
you do
strategic-
wanna be on this committee, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Is there someone else that would like to be on it with her?
I'll do it with you.
I was gonna say.
Perhaps the goals,
Mm.
our
Yeah,
committee
the-
could join
Yeah.
that
Yes.
Yeah.
committee,
Okay,
become
so I
one.
don't,
Yeah,
all right, that sounds
So
good to
Morgan,
me.
Jean, and, yeah.
All right. I think we've done everything, right?
Mhm.
Thank you
Yep.
notes, did we send out thank you notes for anything?
nothing needed to be thank you this month.
You did put a thank you like in the, I don't know, I'm taking this off the top of my head, for like all the.
I always thank
people.
everybody for the events
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the
yeah.
newsletter the following month.
That's what I thought. Okay, so now, the next meeting will be November 4th,
At
and you're
7.
gonna put a
I'm putting a notice on the website.
4th at 7 p.m. And we will hopefully do interviews on the 18th.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, a motion to adjourn?
I-
Moved seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at
8:42.